I'm going to show you now how to optimize bid success with a content library. To some people, a content library is also called a knowledge library, and it's become every bid team's staple tool for improving both time efficiency and key messaging. But what separates a good and a bad content library? Well, if you've been working in bid management for a while, like me, you realize that as soon as you amass a large amount of repetitive content, the way you set up your library in the first instance can make all the difference between having a searchable database of current and relevant content at your fingertips versus a messy repository of random files or hundreds of similar answers that can be a minefield just to work through. When a content library becomes nothing more than a content dumping ground, this is where companies are at the greatest risk of sourcing out of date or low quality content, or worse, making cutting and pasting from old bids more tempting. So to reduce the time and effort involved in recreating content each time, while keeping a tight rein on quality and accuracy of information, content libraries serve a purpose where content is repeatable. And we've set up the BidHive Content Library as a best practice single source of truth where you can build a content library branch structure, tag it, and prepare best practice baseline or boilerplate content that is factually correct and importantly, it's current. So let's show you how. Your content library will be blank when you first set it up, so now might be a good time to set one up to clean or update any old content libraries that you have. And you don't feel you need to do it all at once. I'm going to show you how you can still reference your old material while you're setting up your new library. The content library structures are very easy to set up, and it has a top-level parent and child branches as well as editing areas. So as a side drawer for you to tag, you can make notes and attach relevant files, and you might even want to bring over some of your bids. Files such as insurance certificates or licenses can be kept here. And once this content has been added to your content library, you can then set up a content owner to maintain it. And you can also set expiry dates and even star rate it. Content can then be inserted directly into a bid with a single search point and click. Anytime you insert content into a bid, the platform will automatically assign the related bid section to your content library to improve the search experience. Despite the obvious benefits of having a centralized library, often the problem is that emerges over time is that there's duplication of content, and this can typically happen if you set up your library as questions and answers rather than by topic. And the problem with having a library that only searches questions and answers is that you can lose control over having a single source of truth for a company. So we strongly advocate for content libraries that align to common evaluation criteria specific to your sector and which align to your core business lines and go-to-market structure. So what we did was we audited thousands of tender documents, and we identified a number of common topics that we then mapped to evaluation criteria that worked for virtually any sector, and you can see it here on the screen. In the orange boxes, you can see broadly the high-level section or evaluation criteria that are common across bids. And we've then mapped this to frequently asked questions linked to these criteria, which we've highlighted in grey, and we've grouped them into common factors or topics, which are shown in the light blue in the middle. Following the headings in the middle section makes a very clear and logical architecture for your content library, and now you can begin crafting your boilerplate information across the common dimensions of management, including your related experience, past projects, track record, and approach to working with customers, key personnel, safety, quality, and price, for example. So if you have multiple business lines, you can map the categories or topics in a couple of different ways. One is to make your business lines the parent branch and then add sections or topics underneath. Or you could run your sections or topics as the parent branch with the business line specific information underneath. The approach you take, I think, really depends on whether you have an integrated business or if you operate each of your business lines mostly as separate business units or entities. If it's the latter, then within the content library, you can still set up a branch for your corporate information as a shared resource, and then your business lines can be locked down to only those who need to access it and view them. So here are a few examples of different structures to give you some ideas. And we've put this same information in the top level branch of your content library as a reference to get you started in your demo instance. So once you've established your structure, you can delete our content. So content library branch structure examples could include creating a section branch, and so you click on the plus symbol and give it a name, and you can assign people or groups as you do and come back to it later. New sections will always be added to the bottom of your branch, but if you want to move them around, you can simply click on the section title and then you'll see 3 dots appear. From here, you can add a subsection, move it, rename it, duplicate it, or delete it. So for example, if we want to create a new section but move it up to the top, you would just roll it up, and when you let go of your mouse, it will place the section. Now you can assign people to create and maintain the content, add your tags, owners, and expiry dates. Other people can also star rate the content, and then there's an audit trail of activity. So there's a notes section as well. If you need to provide guidance and related files can be uploaded as attachments, this is where you do it. And once you're happy with your content sections, you can lock them down with the lock button, so the source content can't be altered. This keeps the source of truth intact, but it can still be tailored in a bid. You can then add your permissions, and if you don't add any permissions, the content will be fully visible. Alternatively, you can close it off to specific groups or business lines, or you might have an external consultant to invite to just this section. So this is especially helpful if you have financials that you want to keep on a need-to-know basis. If you've created a closed off group, the content branch will be marked with a blue restricted access. This means that only those invited to the content will see it. And anyone else other than admins won't even see this branch structure. So if you're looking for additional support to help you develop your content library for your company, the BitHive Academy How to Build a Content Library course steps you through how to structure your library, and it provides guidelines and examples of what to include and how to present it.